After Doomsday, Earth became extremely dangerous and challenging. Today, I want to introduce an extremely captivating survival story. Our main character, Shadowblade, is currently hunting in the wild forest. It's really unlucky. No animals are appearing, and it's raining heavily. If there are no animals to hunt, Stonemito and I will probably starve. Even just a black bird would be enough. Just as I thought of the bird, it finally appeared. Shadowblade spotted the bird, and the bird also noticed him. The black bird immediately turned its head and dove straight towards him. Shadowblade realized this and quickly dodged to the side, then ran to grab the pan. After getting the pan, he prepared for the battle. The black bird continued to charge at Shadowblade with super fast speed, but with his own reflexes, Shadowblade used the pan to instantly subdue it. At that moment, he rushed forward, grabbed the bird's neck, and snapped it. Luckily, after the long night of waiting, there was finally some prey. I will take this bird to Mr. Liam's grocery store to exchange it for a few days' worth of provisions. But suddenly, Shadowblade experienced an excruciating headache and collapsed to the ground. This is bad. Why did he fall ill at this moment? Previously, such situations only occurred around midnight. So why is it happening so early today? Since escaping from the wolf pack, this condition has been occurring continuously. The people in the town only say it's a headache, but I know for sure this sensation is not just a headache, it's chaos. Hold on, what's happening this time? The sensation of falling ill is unusually strange. Right before him, Shadowblade saw a flash of light. It was. Right after that, a palace appeared before him. Without much thought, Shadowblade opened the door and stepped inside. Looking around, our main character still held the knife tightly in precaution. But there was no one inside. There was only a wooden table in the middle, surrounded by many cabinets. On the table, there seemed to be a peculiar thing that made Shadowblade curious. On the table, there appeared to be a typewriter-like device. Just then, the headache returned, forcing the main character to distance himself from the virtual world. Outside, a bald-headed person was taking advantage of the protagonist's unconsciousness to steal the bird. Just as the main character woke up, he said, "This time, I woke up so quickly, ha!" But before he could think, the rain was getting heavier, and he had to quickly leave. However, as he prepared to leave, the bald-headed person threatened, raised a knife, and demanded to hand over the prey. Seeing his ferocity, the main character didn't hesitate, grabbed the pan, and slammed it straight into his face, causing him to lose a tooth. But surprisingly, a system interface appeared in front of the main character, requesting to complete the mission of handing over the prey to the person nearby. The main character, astonished by the appearance of the system, looked back at the bald-headed person and began to investigate what this system was. "Do you want this black bird?" the main character asked. I do, he replied. "All right then." Shadowblade handed the bird to him, causing him to be so moved that tears fell. Mission accomplished. Inside the palace, the typewriter-like machine began typing out the rewards for the main character. Mission: give prey to others. Mission accomplished. Reward: basic skills learning book, can study the abilities of others. Seeing the bald-headed person still sobbing, Shadowblade took back the bird. "I won't give it to you anymore." Then he walked away without looking back. By now, the sky had darkened, and Shadowblade returned to the settlement at the foot of the hill, numbered 113. Here, only those with significant wealth and status were allowed inside, while the poor had to live outside in communal areas like a mouse nest. Having a meaty meal was a big desire for them. Seeing Shadowblade with the bird on his shoulder, the people began to gossip. He caught a good prey again. Seeing the crowd's expressions, Shadowblade had the knife ready in hand to defend himself at any moment. A person with hair began to approach, ready to cause trouble and snatch the bird. But at that moment, the bald-headed person from behind restrained him, afraid that a tragedy might occur. "All right, don't hit him," the bald-headed person said. "Let it go, or it'll go crazy and chop you up," the bald-headed person said again. After that, Shadowblade carried the bird to a nearby grocery store. After placing the bird down, the main character asked, "Sir, how much?" The owner, while counting money, turned to wipe his table. "Can you be a bit more gentle? This crystal glass is expensive." A moment later, the owner took out a scale to weigh the bird for Shadowblade. "Not bad today. The bird weighs 3.6 pounds. After saying that, he began to calculate, but Shadowblade interrupted him. "Turkey is $200 per pound today. I'm in a good mood, I'll give you $700. Too little, Shadowblade said. At most $800, he replied. Indeed, within the walls, food was scarce, but everything had its price, and this bird already had a set price tag. Shadowblade immediately said, winter is coming, and turkeys are getting scarcer. $900 is the lowest I can go. Hearing that, the owner shook his head. Shadowblade also turned to leave. Well, where are you going? I'm going to check at Logan's store. Calm down. Negotiate a bit. How much do you want? Wait for me to ask Logan for the price. Then we'll talk. Didn't you just say $900? $900 it is. Don't let Stonemito be late with the tuition fee. Today is the day the people within the walls come to buy wild game meat. No, I can't let Logan snatch this fragrant morsel. What did he just say? Don't let Stonemito be late. One more sentence. How much do you want? $1,200. Upon hearing Shadowblade's quote, the owner was so furious that he trembled. Fine, let me go find Logan. A moment later, Mr. Liam counted the money to settle the payment. Shadowblade said, I only have $1,198. All right, then consider it as owing you $2. While Shadowblade was counting the money, he suddenly noticed a beautifully fluffy coat up high and said, help me get that coat. I want to buy it for Stonemito. Is it this coat? Shadowblade, aren't you buying one for yourself? Shadowblade checked, and the price was only $490. Honestly, I sell coats without expecting profits, just hoping people won't freeze to death. I'm not cold. How much for the anti-inflammatory medicine? One pill is $210. Take continuously for 3 days. 3 pills will cost you $620. And I'll throw in some iodized salt. Never mind. I won't buy it. Normally, I don't get infected much in winter anyway. Shadowblade. If you catch a black bird later, don't kill it. There's a valuable customer inside the walls who wants to raise it. All right, I'll catch it alive, but you'll have to pay more. After buying the necessary items, the main character returned home. Inside the house, Stonemito was studying diligently. Upon seeing his brother return, he couldn't contain his joy. Hey, brother's back. How's your study going? It's going well, sir. It's just, I feel that attending classes and listening to the teacher's lectures is not as good as going hunting with my brother. Brother, when will I be allowed to go hunting with you? Hunting is very dangerous. You could lose your life at any moment. Attending classes, trying to learn something in chemistry and physics, is much better than hunting. Stonemito, knowledge is the most important. Look, in this town, no matter what conflicts arise, no one dares to disturb the classes. Shadowblade thought to himself, it's a pity that the tuition is too expensive, otherwise, I would also want to attend classes. Before selling the blackbird, I dissected it. Let's cook a stew. Seeing Shadowblade's injured hand, Stonemito worriedly asked, how did you hurt your hand? Just a small wound. While saying this, the main character continued cooking. Adding water, we now have a pot of delicious soup. The soup is ready. Hurry and eat while it's hot. Stonemito immediately refused. I won't eat. You should eat to recover from your injury. I'm not hungry. A sip of the soup is enough. I won't eat. This wound is not just a small one. 2 days ago, I heard someone died from an infected wound. As he spoke, Stonemito began to shed tears. Shadowblade, enraged, slammed the bowl onto the table and shouted, why are you crying? Remember, we survive in this world. Absolutely no tears allowed. This world doesn't believe in tears. Look at those around us. See what kind of people they are. You refusing to eat? What if someone attacks us in the middle of the night and kills us? I'm trying to get you an education because you have special abilities. Just focus on studying well, so you won't end up like me, wandering in the wilderness, searching for food day and night. After hearing Shadowblade's scolding, Stonemito obediently sat down to eat, tears falling as he ate. Seeing this, Shadowblade gently rubbed his head and said, normally, you're very clever outside, but why do you become so vulnerable at home? Eat quickly, and after you're full, try on the coat I just bought for you. Stonemito turned back and asked, and what about you? Don't worry about me. A while later, the soup bowl was empty. Shadowblade, lying on the bed, began to think, what really happened? Why did I see that palace? Thinking this, Shadowblade closed his eyes, concentrated a bit, and the palace appeared again. The palace? Shadowblade once again ran inside, but this time when he touched the door, he couldn't touch it, not a physical entity. Could it be that he imagined it? Without thinking much, Shadowblade went straight in. In the middle of the table was the typewriter-like machine, but this time there was a piece of paper. Holding up the paper, he saw familiar information. Mission: gift prey to others. Reward: basic skills learning book. Can study the abilities of others. This is the task I completed today. Shadowblade looked at the words on the keyboard again. It was written: virtue, righteousness, loyalty, trust, benevolence. It was reminding him to be a good person. But in this society, morality is a luxury. Never. In this world, the better you are, the faster you die. Outside, a girl is heading towards Shadowblade's tent. As she opens the curtain and steps in, Stonemito points his knife straight at her throat. When she turns around, Stonemito recognizes her. It's just that Stonemito doesn't like this girl very much. It's Isabella.